Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Villa View, taken over today by For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast, as always, for Teamsheet Tantrum. And this is going to be an interesting one, I think, as we hear about the teams for Aston Villa versus Liverpool. It's a really interesting one because last time Aston Villa beat Liverpool was under lights at Villa Park, and we're hoping we can have the exact same outcome tonight. We're maybe hopeful more than expectant, and it'll be nice to see what the team is, to see if it does reflect what our hope is over our expectation. As always, the Teamsheet Tantrum, in association with the Villa View, is brought to you also by Boohoo Man. You can see down there in the bottom right-hand corner an extra 10% off all Boohoo Man menswear with the code Villa View. It does exclude some lines, but get on using it. It's there. It's 10% off. It's free money. Free money. Who doesn't like free money? So use that 10% off code on Boohoo Man if that is your shopping place of persuasion. I am not on my own tonight. Thank you very much. And also, I do apologize. The audio may not be as good as it normally is because I'm on location, as they say. I'm on a family holiday, and I just have my headphones with me. But I do have the wonderful Paddy is with us as well today. I'm just going to try and bring him in here, see if I can get him in there. There is Paddy Kelly. He should be able to join us there any moment, and then we will get cracking trying to break down the two teams when they're announced. But Paddy, how's things with you?
Oh, good, Neil, and yourself?
Great. I'm down in the sunny southeast of Ireland today in a place called Dungarvan, and I must say it's the most beautiful town. I've never been here before, but small bit of rain now, but it's been beautiful and sunny all day, so I can't complain. Really can't complain, Paddy. For once, I'm jet setting as opposed to you. Except I don't have any match to go to. That's the only thing.
Forever the professional, Neil. You never let a podcast slip anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm sitting on a very uncomfortable situation here, so it could be one for the blooper reel, because I could fall off when I'm sitting on here at the moment, and that would be hilarious if it does happen. Don't slag me too much. But Paddy, we've got a tough one tonight. We've got Liverpool. Obviously it's at home, and the game, as we said in our own pre-match show. The reason the game isn't played on paper is because anything can happen on grass, so the games have to be played. I didn't see Liverpool drawing against Spurs, much in all the Spurs are rejuvenated under Conte. Liverpool just look like a real juggernaut at the moment. But is it fair to say, Paddy, that, maybe we should have a small bit more of a smidgen of hope, given the fact that, Liverpool didn't really cover themselves in glory in the second leg against Villarreal. I know they came out victorious in that one. And also against Spurs, they did show a small bit of a sign of maybe a small bit of tiredness, and they couldn't really break Spurs down with the amount of games that Liverpool have coming up, and that sort of Damocles that's hanging over them with regards to the 4 in a row, the quadruple, which is very difficult to do if it's ever been done before by an English team. Is that something that might weigh heavy on the mind, or do you expect an ultra professional performance from Liverpool tonight, and Villa are going to have to be really on their toes?
Well, let's see. Liverpool are running a marathon, as we know. They've played every game this season apart from the Charity Shield, or the Community Shield as it's known now. So they're in a marathon. When you run a marathon, you're going to get blips. You're going to get miles where you struggle a little bit. So I'm kind of hoping more than expecting that blip to continue tonight, because it's going to be a tough one for us without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that, I often say that I'm sunshine, rainbows and unicorns and everything is great, but it's one of those ones that I can't see a way that we're going to be anyway dominant in this game, and it would really be a smash and grab if we were to get something from this. Now, there is a pathway to a draw. I think there's always a pathway to a draw in any of these games, and like I remember before the Man United game when Courtney House came up and probably scored his last goal for the club, or for the foreseeable future anyway. I don't think I gave them an ass's roar on that either. So, it's just, I suppose, sometimes you can be pessimistic against these clubs that you never beat. Klopp has played Liverpool, I think it's 7 times, beaten us 6 times. The only time he lost was 7-2, and it's one that we will never forget. But I think an awful lot, like, it's one of these games that when you're expecting that Liverpool are going to win, it's very much dependent on what team Villa put out, and do Liverpool rest people, because are they going to play the same front three? Is Diego Jota going to start from the start? Are they maybe going to bring in a midfield? Are they going to change around in midfield? Are they going to maybe play Keita? Maybe Milner gets a run out in midfield. I don't know, is Oxlade-Chamberlain injured still? But I don't think he is. But he always seems to start against Aston Villa. Is this something that you think Klopp is going to do?
I don't think he'll mix it up too much. I think at this stage they're all in. I think he'll keep plugging away. If guys pick up injuries, he'll replace them. But I think he'll put out his best 11. I don't think he can afford not to. The league is there to be won. Every competition is there to be won for them. So they've just got to. Oh,
yeah, that would be interesting.
It would be interesting.
I've never doubted anything a VFC stat I said before, and I'm not going to start now. So that would be really interesting, because I think the drop off from Andy Robertson in an attacking point of view to Tsimikas has to be in our favour. Tsimikas is still good, absolutely. Don't get me wrong, yeah. But it has to be in our favour. Like,
well, we'll find out in 4 minutes' time what they're going to do and what we're going to do, and I think it'll more come down to what we do. If we can keep the defence tight, and then give a free rein above the back six, let's say, and then let's see what we can. I don't envisage a smash and grab. I think it will be end to end, but it'll all depend on how we defend. But if there is no Mo Salah tonight, I think I'll be very happy.
And Karma Baby, I think this is put in before. Well, it hasn't been confirmed that Salah is out tonight, but still we will work on the basis that he is. But I think you're dead right that Digne is key tonight. If he's not in his game, it does drag Mings out of position. It really does. And I think nothing says that more than the Spurs game when Digne played. The gap between Mings and Konsa was massive. And that's why Konsa had to follow Kane. And that's why Kane had an acreage of space in front of him. There was such a big knock-on effect from, number one, Douglas Luiz not having any positional control. And second of all, Digne going too far forward. It really stretched our back four became a back two so simply. And we can't have that happen again. We really can't, because, like, Sadio Mane, I still get chills down my spine when I think of that hat-trick he scored for Southampton. Never mind how good he's gone on to become and play for Liverpool. And I know there's kind of a murmurings in around Liverpool as well at the moment. And I know they're way too professional, they're way above this, but there's talks that Sadio Mane wants to leave and go to Barcelona next year. There's talks that Mo Salah may not sign his contract. Things like that, they're two big names, and are coming into an off season whereby we had the seismic, massive, groundbreaking, world-destroying news today that Philippe Coutinho has signed for Aston Villa. No, I mean Erling Haaland has signed for Man City, and Liverpool are going to want to keep tabs on stuff like that, because if you're losing one or two players out of this team, like the sum of their parts, even though they're all good players, the sum of this Liverpool's team's parts is better than any Erling Haaland or anybody that Man City can bring into that team, because it's this team works so well, and Liverpool are going to have a job to replace those guys if they do leave. But as I say, that's a conversation for another day, and I don't think that's going to have really any effect on them tonight. But it's worth noting, that they do have some players that are that have kind of discussions with the club going on outside of what they do in the field. Paddy, you've had time to sleep on it. We did our preview show last night, but you've had time to sleep on it. Do you still think that it's going to be Chambers in the defensive midfielder position and Konsa is going to hold his position at centre half?
I think that's the way it'll be, yeah. The only curveball in there could be that Nakamba comes in for Chambers. If he trusts him to do 60 or 70 minutes of that, we don't know. So is that why Chambers was entrusted with that at the weekend? We'll find out very quickly.
2-2 for Ronan Ward says tonight he's getting in his prediction early. Little Phil and Emmy. In for Emmy, is it? Little Phil for Emmy, and the rest the same, he thinks, for the lineup. But yeah, I think potentially that's probably the way it will go, and the way that it will look. But I just don't know. I don't know. The more I think about it, I flip-flop between whether they'll play 2-10s. I think it's going to be immaterial. I think Chambers is going to be in there. What I saw of Chambers at the weekend, he did fine. We were playing against, and the team is out. They're bang on 7:00. And yes, we do have some news to talk about. So the team is out. I'm going to give it a moment before it loads up in the system here, and we will show it. But we have Emi Martinez in goals, Matty Cash, Ezri Konsa, Mings, and Digne. We have McGinn. Nakamba is back in the lineup, and we have Douglas Luiz with Coutinho, Ings, and Watkins. So only changes really are Nakamba back in, and I can see why that's happened. I think that Chambers was very handsy. He was very physical. against Burnley, and I think maybe that's why he was in there. Overly physical, and I think that if he was that physical against Liverpool, we would be in trouble. I think we might see yellow cards, or we might see free kicks in dangerous areas. I can see, like, Coutinho was always playing against Liverpool. I wouldn't be surprised if it was written into his contract that he had to play against Liverpool. But
I think if memory serves me correct, I got an awful lot of stick last night for suggesting Nakamba would start tonight. And I also anticipated that we would have Danny Ings to do that work and play two up top. So I think I got the team nearly spot on.
I think you did too. Yeah, I think you did too. Our subs are Olsen, Chambers, Christine. We're going to call him Young Ben, okay, right? We're getting into Young Tim and Young Ben until somebody gives me the right pronunciation. So we've got Chambers, Young Ben, Ashley Young, Young Tim, Sanson, Carney, Buendia, and Traore on the bench. So that is, look, I suppose it's as good as we can be. I don't, off the top of my mind, there isn't anybody mind-blowingly, not on that team or missing from that team, should I say, or even from the substitutes. But it's going to be real backs to the wall, I think, looking at that team. Nakamba's going to have his work cut out for him. I'd say if we only see him for 60 minutes, that's all we'll see him for.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. So yeah, team sheet is announced. I don't know how that team sheet showed up there. I didn't press anything. There's a ghost. There's a ghost in the system. I think. But I'm delighted it did show up there, believe me, because I was pressing buttons in the dark trying to see what's happening there. So with Liverpool team, we've Alisson, we've Matip, Virgil van Dijk, Tsimikas, Alexander Arnold, Fabinho, Naby Keita, as I thought he would be in there, and Curtis Jones. I completely forgot about him. Yeah, so they've completely changed up their midfield, which I thought they would do. Mane, Diego Jota, and Luis Diaz up top. So just like I thought, they've rotated their front three, they've rotated their middle three, they've brought in a left back, and look, they're, as I say, the sum of their parts. It was probably a silly statement to make, because when you make those changes, like arguably all the midfield changes they've made there would get in our team. Definitely all the forward changes would get in our team. And arguably Tsimikas would start at left back for us.
Of course.
So that just shows the firepower that they have at their disposal, which is scary stuff. But AVFC Stato, exactly, few is right. Your sources were correct. No Andy Robertson and no Salah there. So we'll fair play to you and Jews on that one. For sure.
The worrying thing is they do have a very strong bench that will be very much emptied on us if needed. So if it is a case that they're giving the likes of Salah a rest, he'll be in there come 60 minutes, I'm sure.
I read a stat somewhere that I should really start writing these down, or at least start retweeting them when I read them. That over Klopp's. No, I'm not even going to say it because I don't even know the wording of it. It was something to do with his substitutions, specifically when he brings these huge players off the bench. If he brings them on before essentially what it was, the essence of it was, they need a runway to get into the game, that they don't make an immediate massive impact when they come on. So he needs to bring them on at like 55 minutes, or if he brings them on after 55 minutes, they don't affect the game as much. It was some crazy statistic, because I was going, he needs to make a decision within 10 minutes of half time, or maybe 15 minutes of half time. But it was mad. It was mad. Here's a question we don't see that often, and definitely one for our Irish fans. But any tips for doing the leave insert? I'll tell you what tip I got was keep a clear head and a dry pair of underpants, and you'll probably be fine. That's what I was told when I was going into my leave insert. So that'll probably get you through it. But the leave insert for anybody who's out there is, I don't even know what it's called in the UK. A-levels, yeah. Whatever it is, whatever you need to do to get into college is essentially what the leave insert is. Anyway, back onto matters before us again today. Talk to me, Paddy. Talk to me about that midfield access, should I say? Are you more confident that now that the Nakamba is going to be there and that he's going to be anchoring down at the base? Because if we remember rightly, and we said about it beforehand, he was having a storm of a game before he got injured against Liverpool, and when he got injured against Liverpool, we didn't see him again for a while. So, what do you make of that one?
And even the Man City game prior to that, he was one of the best players on the park that night when Jack made his return. I'm delighted to see him back. He's proved under Gerrard that he's worth his weight in gold. So we hope that we can get the same reaction out of him as we had when Gerrard came in the first place. It'll be interesting to see if he lasts the 90 minutes. I think he's been held back and waiting for tonight, as I suggested last night, and there he is. So he's ready to take on the world, and literally he's going to have his work cut out tonight. So whatever amount of time he spends on the pitch, it's going to be a lot of work. But it does give that little bit of space to McGinn and Luis, and that's what I'm more looking forward to, because we know exactly the job that Nakamba is going to do. But it's whether we let Luis and McGinn off the leash will determine whether we get anything out of this game.
Yeah, just going to pop up a comment here as well, and I agree with a lot of parts of it as well. I agree with a lot of this, and it's from Carl here. I don't care that it may have been preordained. Why should Coutinho get 5 games to do nothing and Emmy get 1 where he's top drawer? Absolutely ridiculous, and sends the wrong message to the team. Yeah, I can't disagree. I can't disagree with Coutinho over Buendia thing. I suppose one thing where I always come down on, and I'm very consistent in this, is that the intangible of sending the wrong message to the team. I'm yet to see proof in that. From the point of view of these guys like Buendia could have been told 3 games out or 2 games out. Like it's just a different dichotomy than it would have even been 5 years ago about how players react to not starting, and maybe there could be like even reacting to sports science information and stuff like that. But I completely agree where you're coming from. And Buendia had an absolute sparkler at the weekend. I suppose the thing here is that just like Liverpool have Salah to come on and all those guys to come on, we have an Emi Buendia coming on after a goal and assist against Burnley at the weekend. So hopefully we get the same bounce that they're expecting to get from Salah and things like that. But it's I just, like, there was no way in the world that Coutinho wasn't starting this game. I think in my mind, but I don't disagree with you that if Buendia had started, I would have been equally as happy, because I think we're blessed to have 2 very good number 10s that can affect the game. Buendia is doing it more at the moment, and I suppose you can either think about it, you're only as good as your last game, or you go on form as temporary, class as permanent. There's two massive.
It depends on what side you come down on.
Yeah, exactly.
And
exactly.
it's no surprise that we've been fed the information that Coutinho is going to stay, and the information is the minute some negativity and questions start being answered. So I didn't hear anyone ask the question since yesterday, but everybody, I think, is in the court of yes, we're going to be keeping Coutinho at this stage, and we're probably going to get him for a bargain price, even though he's going to be paid top class wages. So if we're keeping him, we play him.
There's one strange thing though, Paddy, just when you're on that. It's really strange that Barcelona, like, there was something mentioned by was it Gerardo Romero, I think his name was, the Barcelona were going to keep 50% of his rights, his players' rights. And as far as I'm aware, ain't that illegal? Isn't that illegal in some way, that if you make a full transfer to keep 50%? Now, maybe it could have been lost in translation that there's a 50% sell-on clause if we do go and sell him in the future or something like that. But for me, isn't that what Tevez and Mascherano got in hot water with it at West Ham? I think they made no differentiation then between whether it was a private entity like Kiers Rabshin who had their rights, or whether it was a club. I could be wrong on that. I haven't looked it up since I thought about it today and since I asked the question. But if anybody out there knows anything to do with sporting law, or has contact in the Court of Arbitration of Sport or anything like that could shed some light on what my queries are, I'd be delighted to talk to them.
I didn't pay too much heed to it, because I couldn't wrap my head around it, because we're either buying them or not.
Omar, that's true. It could be image rights as well, and that would make more sense, because I wouldn't imagine, like, if we're signing him to, let's just say, a 3 or 4 year deal and he's 34, I wouldn't imagine Barcelona are banking on getting half of 6 or 7 million that we might sell him to the MLS for when he's like 33 or 34. So maybe the image rights.
Does that mean anything that's reproduced with his picture or name on it, would they have to get half of it? Does every jersey we sell all around the world, they get half of it? I have no idea. It just doesn't make
I'd
sense to me.
probably say maybe any deals he does with like Nike or Adidas. I don't know. Once again, it's an intriguing situation. Intriguing situation.
And again, it may be lost in translation as well. So we'll just have to wait and see. We don't normally get the nooks and crannies of deals like that. So I'd be surprised if it was leaked already, considering there's been no announcement.
Yeah, exactly. Dara, you're dead right. We're going to take a sweepstakes. No, we're not going to take a sweepstakes. But what minute do you think Liverpool are going to get their penalty? Actually, I never looked up this statistic either, and I asked it in the pre-match last night. But I think it's been ages since Liverpool have got a penalty, and someone will pick me up on that. I meant to look back through it, but I think it's been a while since they've gotten a penalty. So yeah, maybe tonight could be their night. It usually is, and that's what beat us in Anfield. And while they did run us ragged, we had a resolute defensive performance. And we'd be hoping for one of those today and to frustrate Liverpool because maybe we get an early goal, maybe that settles us. But we are a better team when we do get an early goal. I think first 10 minutes are going to be absolutely vital for Aston Villa. That old cliche. Keep it tight for the first 10 minutes and just see where it goes. In Villa Park, under the lights. Massive crowd is going to be there. The crowd are going to be raucous. They always are under lights at night time. There's just a different feel when you go to a match under lights at night time. And you never know. That might be the defining factor, having all those fans roaring on the team. Paddy, talk to me about our two fullbacks. Do you think this? Obviously we know what Liverpool's fullbacks can do when you've got Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold in there. Do you think it's more important for our fullbacks to be more disciplined today, or do you think it's going to be more important for our two centre halves to be disciplined? The reason I say that is because we're seeing Trent become more and more of that attacking force again in the last maybe 10 weeks. Start of the season he was attacking, but he was crossing from deeper. But we're seeing him go a small bit further forward now. Who do you think needs to be a bit more disciplined today, our fullbacks or our centre halves?
Well, I think the four of them have to be disciplined. We discussed this on our preview show. The Watford on the 2nd of April. That's not that long
2nd
ago.
of April. Yeah, it's not that long ago.
Unless that's American speak for the 4th of February, is it?
Could be American speak. Yeah, who knows?
I've lost my trail of thought there. Oh yeah, the fullbacks. Like we spoke last night about our performance against Leicester and how disciplined those two fullbacks were against Leicester. There was no gung ho from Ashley Young or Matty Cash in that game, so ultimately kept the game very tight. I think that's very important today. So if they stay at home, let the guys in front of them do the attacking, and just do that something a little bit different. We might sneak something. I'm not hopeful. I'm no means hopeful, but I am hopeful for a good performance tonight. And I think that's the most important thing we can look for at this stage.
Absolutely. I think so. Lads, we're getting to the time in the, I'm just oiling up the vocal cards here. I'm getting to the time where I try and put on my auctioneer's accent and I start to try and go through everybody's results. If you want to start popping in what you think the results is going to be tonight, what the score is going to be, I'll try and read out as many of them as I possibly can. But I think I agree with you with regards to the defence. It's going to be a tough road, and I think we're going to miss. I think we're going to miss Jacob Ramsey there. Jacob Ramsey brings that small bit more physicality in midfield. I know I spoke about Chambers' physicality, and I know that I was a small bit maybe uncomplimentary about it, but I think that it's going to be very important to kind of get in around that midfield. Look, Naby Keita isn't exactly a massive powerhouse in there. He does a huge job in there, and they've changed their strike force. But I think if we're going to do anything, we're going to need to own midfield, and I'm not sure we can do that with midfield three that we have out there. But look, I could be proven wrong. And maybe we see Ollie Watkins drop deep. Maybe we see Danny Ings drop deep. Maybe we see Buendia, or maybe we see Coutinho play out on the left, McGinn out on the right. I have no idea what way it's going to go with regards to the setup today. And it's, as I say, I'm really going to sit in the fence, and I'm going to say that it's going to be Liverpool. I think it's going to be 3-1 Liverpool. Just going to be.
Yeah. I'm not quite as pessimistic. I'm going 2-1 Liverpool. With the obligatory penalty, which will probably decide the game, but whether it be deserved or not, they're definitely getting the penalty tonight.
Nicholas, you're asking, where am I cycling? I'm actually on one of those Swiss ball things, but it's half deflated. And it's not anything to do with my ever increasing weight, but it is, that's why I'm rocking back and forth. And that's why I'm trying to keep my balance every so often. So yeah, epitome of professionalism here. That's what I am. Epitome of professionalism. Right, lads, let's get through this. I'm going to try and get through as many of them as I can, and we'll finish up there. So we have Kahua Gaming goes 1-1. Batty Bliss goes 2-1. Aston Villa with Marvellous to get all 3 goals. AVSC status says 3-2 to Villa. And O'Grady's going with 3-2, I presume, to Villa, because I presume it's Villa because you wouldn't be able to show your face with 3-2 to Liverpool. David Miller is going with 7-3. I presume that's to Villa as well. 3-1. Liverpool, says Richard Laws, that man after my own heart. Sean Green says 3-3 with a Traore hat-trick. Sean Purcell says 3-1 Liverpool. KK says 0-0. RA Venture 26 says 2-2. John Green says 2-2. Eric C says 7-3. Daniel Sudell says 3-1 Liverpool with controversial penalty. Jack says 2-2. Shark Spray says 10-2 to the Villa. Ashley Young to come on and score a hattie. Protagonist Man says 2-1 Liverpool. Rob Henry says 8-3. We've progressed under Gerrard. Jason 198 says 2-1 to Villa. Danny H says 2-2 with a late Mane equaliser. McGinn to slap a deflected effort in from outside the box. I like the specificity. Daniel Gallagher says 2-1 to Liverpool, unfortunately. DEAMHO. This guy says Liverpool 10, Aston Villa 0. You could be right. I'll put a pound on it for you. And all money goes to Villa Foundation. Dan says 2-1 Liverpool. Unfortunately, Camera Baby says 2-1 Villa. Let's go. Mighty Villain says 2-2 to Watkins. I'm sure we've got some more here as well. So that was Mighty Villain. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 10, 20-0 to Villa. Wait till you see this one, lads. Right, so we've got PRF Clark says 2-1 to Villa, including their penalty that Salah will blast over. Simon Watton says 2-2. Michael Gillespie says 3-1 Villa. Presidente Franks, what a brilliant name, says 1-1. Finnan says 6-0 to Liverpool. No Salah, so 7-0, says the big Matthew 1-8-2. Sai Sepel says 3-1 to them. Hope I'm completely wrong. As for Coutinho, I thought it was 50% sell-on clause. And O'Grady says, yeah, Villa 3. I'm manifesting as we speak. Ryan Martin says 3-1 to Villa. Ings hat-trick. Aidan Coffey says 20-0 to Villa. I want a big pint of absinthe like Aidan has had there, because I love that optimism. Dimmer Byrne says Coutinho to get the equaliser, 1-1. The pragmatism from Longford as always. I love it. 1-1 I take today as well. Christopher Hammond says 2-2. Darla J Games 24/7 says 3-1 to Liverpool. Chris Hardy says lose 2-1. Aidan Coffey says has come back. He sobered up again. 1-0 late winner. And Gary Edmonds says 2-0 to Villa. Oh, we've got a couple of more. Clinical Official says 3-3, and Morgan McComb says 2-1 Villa up to Villa. Audrey Lynch 1-0 Villa. And Audrey, you are the last score that we are going to go with, because if it is 1-0 Villa today, it will be an absolutely fantastic result.
I'll be very happy. And if it's 1-0 Villa, 1-0 Villa today, what better way for it to come only from the man who's making his 100th Premier League appearance tonight, Douglas Luiz.
And he's playing in an 8th position.
Yes.
He's playing in the 8th position.
He's due a goal, isn't he? He's definitely due a goal at this stage.
He is due a goal. Yeah. Look, as I say, I had him. Wait a minute. I can do something cool. Hold your horses. Watch this. No, he's due a goal. There's Douglas Luiz. There he is. But before I break it, I better take that off the screen. But imagine, Douglas Luiz, he is due a goal. He's playing in the 8th position. He played a bit better against Burnley. His best games have come in the 8th position at the start of the season, namely against Man City and Liverpool. And I think he played there against Leicester as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do tonight. And I didn't call somebody out. I do apologize. D to the B to the H says 2-0 Liverpool. So there we go. Right, lads, I think we're going to leave it at that. It's 7:20. I'm going to hightail it down to a public house to try and watch this game to see what way it goes. But thanks so much, as always, everybody, for watching. Thanks a million for anybody who's going to watch this or listen to this later on. And thanks a million to the guys at the Villa View for having us. And also thanks a million to Boohoo Man, who do sponsor this podcast. And as you can see on the right-hand side, Boohoo Man, that's the right-hand side. It's over here. I hate the mirror effect and the camera. You do get an extra 10% off all the Boohoo Man menswear with the code VillaView. So get using it. Use it early and use it often, as they say. So thanks a million, Paddy, for popping on, and thanks a million to all of you for your comments. It's really fun to see all the comments and go down through all the scores and see the optimism and the pessimism and the opposing fans. And look, that's what it's all about. Look, we don't know what way it's going to go. Nobody predicted a 7-2 previous to when we did it, and nobody would have predicted. I wouldn't have even predicted we would have only lost 1-0 at the start of the season the way we were going. So it's anyone's game, and all will be told in the next 39 minutes before kickoff. So thanks again, everybody, for watching. And I'm going to leave you. Get sorted with your favorite beverage, whatever you need to do. Game starts at 8 o'clock, and we will be back at some stage with a post-match podcast as well. And we hope to see you there. So thanks very much, everybody, for listening. And all that's left to say is up the Villa.